But wait. Let me take you back to the beginning, because the look on my sister Rachel's face when Judge Harrison called me by my title was 15 years of secrets exploding in one moment. My name is Sarah Cooper. I'm 30 years old. Rachel is my older sister, she's 33. When we were kids, Rachel was the star of everything. She won every competition, got perfect grades, made our parents smile every single day. I was the quiet girl who liked reading books in the corner while everyone else was at parties. Our mom and dad owned a small bakery in Ohio. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We had a nice house, went on vacations, and never worried about money. Rachel always wanted more though. She wanted the big house, the fancy car, the important husband. Rachel married her high school boyfriend, a lawyer named Connor. They bought a huge house with a swimming pool. She posted pictures online every day showing how perfect her life was. I went to college far away, took out loans to pay for it, and worked at a coffee shop at night to make extra money. Rachel told everyone I went to a cheap school because I wasn't smart enough for the good ones. She said I was wasting my time. I never corrected her because I learned something important early on. Rachel needed to feel like she was winning. If I argued with her, things only got worse. What Rachel didn't know, what nobody in my family knew, was something big. After college I went to law school. I worked harder than I'd ever worked in my life. I studied when everyone else was sleeping. I practiced for every test until my eyes hurt. When I finished law school I got a special job. I worked for a judge named Robert Harrison. Judge Harrison wasn't just any judge. He was one of the most respected people in the whole state. 5 years after I worked for him, he became even more important in our government. After working with Judge Harrison, I became a prosecutor. That means I was a lawyer who put bad people in jail. I worked on big cases. People who hurt others, people who stole money, people who broke important laws. I won most of my cases. A lot of cases. Rachel told her friends I had an okay job for someone who wasn't very ambitious. She said I worked at a courthouse doing paperwork. At her second wedding, yes, second because she divorced Connor for not making enough money, she married a man named Brandon who worked for a big medicine company. At that wedding, she announced to everyone, at least one sister in our family married successfully. 3 months after Rachel's wedding, something huge happened to me. I was chosen to become a federal judge. Do you know how big that is? The president picked me. Important people in our government had to say yes. I had to go through background checks where they asked about everything in my whole life. I was 30 years old, one of the youngest people ever chosen for this job. The whole process took a year and a half. During that time, I told my family I was still just working as a regular lawyer. Rachel was too busy planning parties and posting pictures online to ask questions. When I finally became a judge, I didn't invite my family to the ceremony. Judge Harrison called me that day. "Sarah," he said, "you earned this. Don't let anyone make you feel small." For 15 years I was a federal judge. I made decisions on huge cases. Other judges read my work and used it for their own cases. I taught young lawyers. I built a reputation for being fair and smart. My family thought I made $50,000 a year doing boring government work. Rachel thought I lived in a tiny, sad apartment because I never posted pictures of my home online. The truth. I owned a beautiful 3-story house in a historic neighborhood worth $2 million. I paid cash for it with money I'd saved and invested carefully. Federal judges make $223,400 every year. That's a lot of money. Rachel never bothered to look it up. She thought I drove an old, embarrassing Honda. She didn't know I also had a classic vintage car in my garage that I drove on weekends for fun. She thought I was single because no successful man wants a boring government worker. She didn't know about James, another federal judge I'd been dating for 3 years. We kept it private because of our jobs. Rachel's marriage to Brandon was falling apart when she met David Harrison. Yes, Harrison. David was 36, worked at a fancy law firm, and most importantly to Rachel, his father was Judge Thomas Harrison. The same Judge Harrison I'd worked for. The same one I'd served on judicial panels with for years. Rachel found out about Judge Harrison on her 3rd date with David. She called me immediately. her voice shaking with excitement. Sarah, David's dad is a federal judge. Not just any judge. A circuit court judge. Do you even understand what that means? Yes, I said quietly. I understand. Of course you don't, she snapped. It means he's basically one step below the Supreme Court. It means David comes from a family that matters. This is the most important relationship of my entire life. That's great, Rachel. I'm happy for you. Listen to me carefully. Her voice turned cold. I cannot have you embarrassing me in front of these people. David's family knows senators. His mother went to an Ivy League school. They vacation in expensive places. When you meet them, just don't talk too much about your job, okay? If anyone asks, just say you work in law. That's technically true. For the next 6 months, I watched Rachel transform herself. She joined charity boards. She started going to art gallery openings. She hired someone to help her pick out clothes. Her social media became full of pictures at fancy restaurants and cultural events. She called me monthly with updates. David's mother mentioned they summer in Martha's Vineyard. I'm learning all about Martha's Vineyard, Sarah. There's actually a difference between different beach towns. Obviously you wouldn't know that. David's father knows a senator personally. They went to college together. Can you imagine? My future father-in-law is friends with senators. I listened, said congratulations, and went back to my real life. In March, I presided over a huge corruption case. A state senator had been taking bribes. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Newspapers wrote articles about it. Legal journals discussed my decisions. Rachel never mentioned it. She didn't read legal news. In April, I was invited to speak at a Harvard Law conference. Judge Harrison was the main speaker. The night before, several judges had dinner together. Over coffee, Judge Harrison said, "Sarah, I keep meaning to ask. Any relation to a Rachel Cooper in Columbus? My son David is engaged to a Rachel Cooper." "That's my sister," I said. His eyes widened. "Your sister." David never mentioned it. "Does she know you're a judge?" "It's complicated," I said. "My family doesn't know. I keep my private life very private." He looked at me carefully. "Your family doesn't know you're a federal judge?" "No, sir." "That must be difficult." Shrugged. "It's easier this way. My sister needs certain things to be true about me. If she thinks I'm unsuccessful, she's happy. Everyone wins." Judge Harrison frowned. "That's not winning, Sarah. That's hiding. With respect, Your Honor, it's surviving." He didn't push further, but I saw something in his eyes. Maybe concern. Maybe understanding. In May, Rachel got engaged. David proposed at a fancy restaurant with musicians. She posted the whole thing online. She called me the next morning, squealing. "It's official. I'm going to be part of the Harrison family. David's already talking about me joining his mother's foundation board." "That's wonderful," I said. "We're having an engagement dinner next month. Small, just immediate family." He paused. "You need to come, Sarah. But listen. This isn't like our regular family dinners. These are sophisticated people. David's father clerked for the Supreme Court. His mother studied at Oxford. They're not going to understand your lifestyle." "My lifestyle? You know what I mean. The government job, the lack of success. Just please don't talk about work. Don't embarrass me." I could have told her then. Should have, maybe. Instead I said, "I'll be on my best behavior." The dinner was scheduled for June 15th at an exclusive restaurant. Rachel texted me. "Dress nicely. Nice clothes, Sarah. Not your usual stuff." I wore a simple navy blue dress from my closet. Elegant and understated. Pearl earrings that James gave me. I drove my Honda because I knew Rachel would be watching. I arrived exactly on time. Rachel was already there in a white designer dress. She grabbed my arm immediately. "You're here. Listen, when David's family arrives, let me do the talking. Don't volunteer information. If anyone asks what you do, just say law, and change the subject." Understood. Understood. And please don't mention your apartment or your car. David's sister drives a Tesla. They don't need to know you're struggling financially. I almost laughed. Almost told her my sad apartment was a historic house that David's sister had actually complimented at a judicial event last month. That my vintage car was worth more than her new SUV. Instead I said, I'll be discreet. Mom and Dad arrived. Dad in his best suit, Mom in her pearls. They hugged Rachel, nodded at me. The usual. Sarah, Mom said. Rachel told us about David's family. Very impressive. Please don't talk too much about your job. We don't want them thinking we're ordinary. Then David arrived with his family. Judge Thomas Harrison looked exactly like he did in court. Tall, gray hair, commanding. His wife Margaret was elegant in a classic suit. David's sister Jennifer wore a sharp pantsuit and had the confidence of someone very successful. David introduced everyone. Mom, Dad, Jennifer. This is Rachel's family. Her parents, John and Linda, and her sister Sarah. My younger sister, Rachel said quickly. She works in law. Government law. She said it like it was something to be ashamed of. Judge Harrison extended his hand to my father. John, pleasure to meet you. Then he turned to me. Eyes met. I saw the recognition flash across his face. I gave the tiniest shake of my head. Not now. He paused for just a second, then said smoothly, Sarah, nice to meet you. Your Honor, I said quietly. The pleasure is mine. Rachel shot me a look. Just Mr. Harrison, Sarah. Don't be weird. We sat down at a large round table. Rachel positioned herself between David and Judge Harrison. She put me at the far end between Jennifer and my father. Dinner started normally. Talk about wedding plans, dates, venues. Rachel dominated the conversation, laughing loudly, touching David's arm constantly. We're thinking September, Rachel said. At the Grand Hotel downtown. 400 guests. Black tie. That sounds lovely, Margaret Harrison said politely. David's father will invite so many important people, Rachel continued. Won't you, Judge Harrison? You must know everyone in legal circles. I know a few people, Judge Harrison said carefully. A few, Rachel laughed. David says you have senators' phone numbers. That you've argued cases at the Supreme Court. That's so incredible. I've always admired people in positions of real power. She said it pointedly, glancing at me. Judge Harrison's expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. Power is relative, he said. The most powerful people I know are often the ones working quietly, without recognition. Rachel completely missed what he meant. Oh, absolutely. But there's something to be said for achievement. For making something of yourself. Another glance at me. Not everyone has that drive. Mom nodded. Sarah's always been content with less. Less? Jennifer asked, looking at me with interest. What do you do, Sarah? Before I could answer, Rachel jumped in. She works for the government. Local courts. Nothing exciting. It's fine for her. She's never been ambitious. Local courts, Jennifer repeated, looking at me. What kind of law? Criminal law, I said quietly. Federal criminal law. Federal, Judge Harrison said. His voice carefully neutral. That's not local courts. Rachel waved her hand. Same difference. Government legal work. Bureaucratic low-level stuff. Sarah's comfortable there. The table went quiet. Then Dad decided to help. The important thing is that one of our daughters is successful. He smiled at Rachel. We're very proud of Rachel. Her marriage to David, joining this family. It's quite an achievement. An achievement, Judge Harrison repeated softly. Well, yes, Mom said. The Harrison family is so distinguished. A federal judge, important connections. It's everything parents hope for. I watched Judge Harrison's face. Watched him realize what my life had been. Why I'd hidden. Rachel beamed. I've worked so hard to be worthy of David. To be someone his family can be proud of. And Sarah? Margaret Harrison asked quietly. What about Sarah? Rachel laughed. That nervous, dismissive laugh. Sarah's fine with her life. She's never wanted more. Right, Sarah. Everyone turned to me. I could have ended it there. Could have told the truth. Instead I said, I'm content. Content, Rachel repeated triumphantly. See, Sarah knows her limits. Not everyone needs to be successful. Some people are just ordinary. And that's okay. She said it like she was being generous. Dad nodded. We've accepted our daughters are very different. Rachel aims high. Sarah aims realistically. Judge Harrison set down his fork. His voice was still polite, but there was steel underneath. What makes you think Sarah isn't successful? The question hung in the air. Rachel laughed nervously. Well, I mean, she has a government job. She drives a Honda. She lives in an apartment. No offense to Sarah, but success looks different for different people. No offense taken, I said quietly. Jennifer was staring at me now. Really staring. Wait, federal criminal law. How long have you been doing that? A while, I said. And what's your title? She pressed. Rachel interrupted. Does it matter? Can we talk about the wedding? What's your title, Sarah? Judge Harrison asked. The table went silent. I looked at Rachel. My parents. At their smug certainty that I was the family failure. I looked at Judge Harrison. He gave me the slightest nod. I'm a federal judge, I said clearly. United States District Court. The silence stretched. Then Rachel laughed. High-pitched, disbelieving. What? Sarah, don't. That's not funny. I'm not joking. You're a judge, Mom said. Since when? 15 years. Dad shook his head. That's impossible. You work in a court. You told us. I told you I work in federal criminal law. Do. I preside over federal criminal cases. Rachel's face went red. You're lying. You can't be a federal judge. Federal judges are appointed by the president, Judge Harrison said quietly. Confirmed by the Senate. They serve lifetime appointments. Sarah, when were you confirmed? March 2010. President Obama. The Senate vote was 96-3. The color drained from Rachel's face. Jennifer pulled out her phone, typed rapidly, then turned the screen. A picture of me in judge's robes at a conference. Judge Sarah Cooper, U.S. District Court, Jennifer read aloud. Oh my God, Mom whispered. Mom grabbed the phone. That's you. In judge robes. Yes. But you said. She looked at Rachel. Did you know? Of course I didn't know. Rachel's voice was rising. She lied. She let us all think she was nobody. I never lied, I said calmly. I told you I worked in federal criminal law. Do. You assumed I was low level. I didn't correct you. That's lying by omission. Is it? I looked at her steadily. You called my work nothing. You told me not to embarrass you. When exactly was I supposed to correct you? Judge Harrison was watching with an expression I recognized from court. You've known each other, David said slowly, looking between me and his father. You know her. Judge Cooper and I have served on several judicial panels together, Judge Harrison said. She's one of the finest legal minds I've had the pleasure of working with. Rachel stood up abruptly. This is insane. Sarah is not a federal judge. She can't be. I would have known. Would you? I asked quietly. When's the last time you asked about my work? When's the last time you asked about my life at all? That's not, she turned to our parents. Tell them Sarah is not a judge. Mom was scrolling through search results on Jennifer's phone. There are articles. So many articles. Judge Cooper presides over corruption trial. Judge Cooper's opinion cited by appeals court. Sarah, is this real? Dad asked. Yes. You sent a congressman to prison, Dad said slowly, reading. He was taking bribes. The evidence was overwhelming. "You've been a federal judge for 15 years, he said. 15 years. And you never told us. You never asked. You assumed. I let you." Rachel slammed her hand on the table. "Why? Why would you hide this? Do you know what this makes me look like? I've been telling David's family you're nothing. That you're ordinary. That I'm the successful one." "Yes," I said. "You have. You made me look like an idiot." "No, Rachel. You did that yourself." The words hung there. Judge Harrison cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should." "No." Rachel's hands were shaking. "No, I want to know. Why hide it, Sarah? Why let everyone think you're a failure?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. "Because you needed me to be. That's not. You've built your entire identity on being better than me. Martyr. More successful. More accomplished. What would you have done if you'd known the truth 15 years ago?" She opened her mouth. Closed it. "You would have made it about you," I continued quietly. "Made it a competition. Told everyone I got the position through connections or luck. Anything to preserve your position as the successful sister. That's not true. Isn't it? You're doing it right now. Your first response wasn't congratulations or pride. It was anger that I made you look bad." Mom made a small sound. Dad stared at his plate. David was looking at Rachel like he'd never seen her before. "I think," Judge Harrison said carefully, "we should all take a breath." "A breath." Rachel's voice was shrill. "My sister has been lying to our entire family for over a decade." "I didn't lie," I said. "I lived my life. You made assumptions. You let us. You played poor. You played unsuccessful." You stop. "Wait. The apartment. You said you couldn't afford." "I never said that. You assumed." Jennifer was still on her phone. "Judge Cooper's financial disclosures are public record. She owns a historic house worth." She paused. $2 million. Gasp. "Federal judges make $223,400 annually," Jennifer continued. "For 15 years. Plus investment income." "You're rich," Rachel said flatly. "I'm comfortable. You let me pay for your dinner last Christmas. You let me think you were struggling. You insisted on paying. You said, quote, 'I know money's tight for you.' I said thank you. The waiter appeared with our food. Read the room. Disappeared immediately." Judge Harrison leaned back. "Sarah, I have to ask, why reveal this now?" "Because," I said, looking at Rachel, "I'm tired. Tired of being your villain. Your cautionary tale. The sister you pity in public and mock in private." "I don't." "You do." Pulled out my phone. Found Rachel's social media post from last month. Read aloud. "So grateful for my journey. Some people settle for ordinary lives. I chose extraordinary." The post had a photo of us, her in designer clothes, me in my Honda. Silence. "Or this one," I continued. "Thankful for sisters even when we take very different paths. Some of us aim high." Another photo, her with David, me alone in the background. I set the phone down. "For 15 years, I've let you treat me like I'm less than you. Like I'm someone to be ashamed of. I let you because I thought it made your life easier. I thought if you could feel superior to me, you'd be happy. I am happy. Are you?" I looked at her. "You've had 3 marriages. You've changed careers 4 times. You've reinvented yourself over and over, chasing what you think success looks like. And every time you've defined it against me. At least I'm not like Sarah." Mom was crying quietly. Dad looked sick. David hadn't said a word. He was watching Rachel with an expression I couldn't read. "This isn't fair," Rachel whispered. "You lied to us." "No," Judge Harrison said firmly. "Sarah lived her life privately. You made assumptions and never bothered to verify them. There's a difference." Rachel turned to him desperately. "But you understand, right? You understand why I'm upset. Your son is marrying into a family that's been lying. My son, Judge Harrison interrupted, his voice cold, is marrying into a family where one daughter has served with distinction on the federal bench for over a decade, where one daughter has sent corrupt officials to prison, ruled on cases that shaped federal law, and earned the respect of every judge she's worked with. He paused. And where one daughter has apparently spent those same years tearing that sister down. No, Rachel. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Rachel's face crumpled. Margaret Harrison spoke. Sarah, why now? Why reveal this tonight? I looked at Rachel. Because I realized something. No matter what I do, no matter how small I make myself, Rachel will always need someone to be beneath her. And I'm done being that person. I never asked you to, Rachel started. You didn't have to ask. You demanded it. Every family dinner. Every holiday. Every conversation. Don't embarrass me. Don't talk about your job. Don't make me look bad. As if my existence was something you had to manage. I stood up. For 15 years, I've watched you build an identity based on being better than me. I've watched you introduce me to friends, to boyfriends, to husbands, with that apologetic tone. This is my sister. She's not as successful. I've smiled through it. I looked at Judge Harrison. But I can't accept it anymore. Not when you're joining a family that includes this man. Someone I respect immensely. Someone who represents everything I believe about justice and integrity. I won't let Rachel's version of me be the truth David's family knows. You're doing this for revenge, Rachel said bitterly. No, I'm doing this because I deserve better. Because I've earned better. Picked up my purse. I'm sorry, Judge Harrison, Margaret, Jennifer. I know this isn't how you wanted to meet my family. Don't apologize, Judge Harrison said. You have nothing to apologize for. Sarah, wait. Dad started. No, Dad. I'm done waiting. I'm done being quiet. I'm done making myself small so Rachel can feel big. I turned to Rachel. I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope David makes you happy. But I won't be part of a family that requires me to pretend I'm someone I'm not. You're leaving, Mom said. Just like that. Just like that. Jennifer stood up suddenly. Wait, Sarah. Can I walk you out? He nodded. In the parking lot, Jennifer leaned against my Honda. Oh. Federal judge. Oh. Venture capital. She laughed. Your sister has been going on for months about how accomplished Sechi is compared to you. I know. I Googled you 3 weeks ago. Found your judicial record. Recognized your name from cases I'd read in law school. I went to Yale Law before switching to business. You didn't say anything. I wanted to see if you would. I wanted to see if you were hiding or if your family just couldn't see you. Both, probably. For what it's worth, I think you're extraordinary. And I think my brother just realized he might be marrying the wrong sister. I smiled sadly. He loves her. Maybe. But Sarah, she hesitated. Don't disappear completely. My father respects you. My mother was just reading your court opinions on her phone, and she's already impressed. We're not your family. We see you. Something in my chest loosened. Thank you. I drove home to my sad apartment, my 3-story historic house with original hardwood floors and a garden. I texted James. Family dinner was interesting. He called immediately. Interesting, good or bad? Interesting, necessary. You told them. I told them. How do you feel? Thought about it. Free. The messages started at 11 p.m. Rachel. I can't believe you did this. Rachel. You ruined everything. Rachel. Mark's parents think I'm horrible. Rachel. How could you embarrass me like this? I didn't respond. Mom. We need to talk. Dad. This was inappropriate. You made us look foolish. I turned off my phone. The next morning I had 23 missed calls. Voicemails from everyone. But then, surprisingly, Sarah, it's Jennifer Harrison. My parents aren't reconsidering David and Rachel's relationship because of you. They're reconsidering because of how Rachel treated you. There's a difference. Also, Dad wants to know if you're free for lunch next week. There's a judicial task force forming. Call me. Called Jennifer back. Hey, she said. You okay? Getting there. We had breakfast this morning. Long conversation. David's processing. He's realizing there were red flags he ignored. Like what? The way Rachel talks about people. The way she measures worth. The way she treats service staff, people she considers beneath her. Jennifer paused. She spent 20 minutes trying to convince David that you somehow tricked us. That you're manipulative. And David asked her why she'd spent years telling him you were a failure without ever actually asking about your career. She didn't have a good answer. I felt sympathy for David. This isn't his fault. No, but it's his problem now. 3 weeks later, I was in my chambers when my clerk knocked. Judge Cooper, there's a Rachel Cooper in the lobby. She says she's your sister. Send her in. Rachel looked terrible. Red eyes, no makeup, jeans and a sweatshirt. I'd never seen her look so normal at a public meeting. Sarah, she said quietly. Can we talk? Sit. She sat, looked around my chambers. The law books, the framed degrees, the photos from conferences. This is really your office. Yes. You're really a federal judge. Yes. She was quiet for a long moment. David ended our engagement. I'm sorry. Are you? You got what you wanted. You humiliated me. Destroyed my relationship. Is that what you think I wanted? Wasn't it? Rachel, I spent 15 years making myself invisible so you could shine. If I wanted to humiliate you, I could have done it years ago. Then why now? Because you were about to marry into a family that includes someone I respect deeply. Because I couldn't stand at your wedding and pretend to be your failure story anymore. Because I was tired. Tired. Tired of being your villain. Built on you needing me to be less than you. She flinched. When's the last time you asked about my life and actually listened? Yes. When's the last time you celebrated something I did? Silence. I can't remember either, I said. David said I'm cruel. That I treated you like you were worthless. You didn't think you were being cruel. You thought you were being honest. Realistic. But you were extraordinary the whole time, she whispered. And I was too self-absorbed to see it. Yes. She looked at me. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if you can. Do you want me to try? I want you to figure out who you are without me being your villain. Until you do that, we don't have anything to fix. David said the same thing. He's right. I love him, Sarah. I know. But love isn't enough if you can't see people clearly. She nodded slowly. Mom and Dad want family therapy. No, not yet. You need individual therapy first. You need to figure out why you've built your identity on being better than me. That's harsh. It's honest. I've been quiet for 15 years. I'm done being quiet. She stood up. I really did ruin everything, didn't I? You revealed everything. There's a difference. At the door she turned back. I know you probably don't believe this, but I am proud of you. Federal judge for 15 years. That's incredible. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't see it before. I know. After she left, I sat in my chambers and felt peaceful. No anger. No satisfaction. Just closure. My phone buzzed. James. Dinner tonight? You've been quiet. Smiled. Typed back. Yes. I have stories. That evening I told James everything. Your family had no idea, he said. No idea. For 15 years. He shook his head. That's impressive and sad. I know. Are you okay? I think so. Feels strange. Like I've been carrying something heavy for so long that I forgot what it felt like to put it down. What happens now? Now I live my life without apologizing for success. Good. He raised his glass. To Judge Sarah Cooper. To being seen. We clinked glasses. 3 months later, Judge Harrison and I co-authored an article on sentencing reform. It was published in a major law journal. My parents saw it shared by someone from their church. Mom called. Sarah, we saw the article. I'm glad. Your father wants to take you to dinner. To celebrate. Celebrate what? The article, or the fact that people from church now know what I do? Silence. Mom, I love you. But until you can tell me you're proud of me for me, not because of what other people think, we don't have much to talk about. That's not fair. It's honest. I'll talk to you when you're ready to be honest too. Hung up. 6 months later, I received a wedding invitation. Not Rachel's, she and David had ended things. She was in therapy, working through what Jennifer called identity issues. The invitation was from Jennifer herself. She was marrying her partner in a small ceremony. I know it's forward to invite you, she wrote. But you're the kind of person I want in my life. Someone who knows who they are. Plus, Dad wants to talk about that task force. I went to the wedding. Met Jennifer's wonderful partner. Had long conversations with Judge Harrison. Danced at the reception. As I was leaving, Judge Harrison pulled me aside. David asks about you sometimes. Tell him I'm well. He feels guilty about Rachel. He shouldn't. We see what we're ready to see. Wise words. He paused. Sarah, I'm glad you stopped hiding. The legal community is better for it. Thank you, Tom. And your family will come around eventually. Maybe. But I'm not waiting for them anymore. Good. Don't. I drove home to my townhouse, my real life, my earned success. I thought about Rachel. About my parents. About 15 years of being invisible. I thought about Judge Harrison calling me Judge Cooper at that dinner. About Rachel's fork clattering to the floor. I didn't feel triumphant. Felt free. My phone buzzed. Text from David. This is David Harrison. I got your number from Jennifer. I wanted to say thank you for showing me what I needed to see. I hope you're well. I typed back. I'm very well. Thank you for asking. I hope you find someone who sees you clearly. He replied. I hope Rachel does too. She's trying. That's something, I agreed. I set my phone down. Looked around my living room. My space. My life. My hard-earned success. I stopped hiding. And being seen was worth everything.